Here we're looking at receiving, and once again we're using an iPad, although you can use your iPhone or your Android phone just as well. So to show you how quickly this can be done, let's tap on self-delivery. And these are disposal requests that are brought to surplus by the departments directly, and they'll bring with them their printable version of the disposal request. So if we select this one from the mathematics department, for example, we'll see the items that they're bringing, and we can confirm that they've all been brought to the surplus department. So once we know that, all we need to do here is tap on the all received, and you'll see that everything is marked as received. And then we can go ahead and tap on receive into inventory, click OK, and everything is now in inventory, and it'll automatically toggle over to the labels tab, and so we can choose how many labels we want to print for each of these items. So let's say on this last one here we don't exactly need 10, maybe we only needed 1. Then we can change the quantity, and then we can tap on select all. The little orange marker is just to indicate there's a different quantity than the quantity of the items, and then we can go ahead and click on print labels. We'll use the Avery printer just for this example, and there are the labels that we've printed. And the final step is to click on the completed button, and you'll notice the labels go back to 0 before we do that. And the reason for that is that you may want to reprint some labels, so you can always add another quantity and go ahead and tap on any of the labels you wish to reprint. So the final step is clicking on completed, and that will cause the disposal request to be removed from the drop-down list at the top, so you can no longer make the mistake perhaps of printing stuff that you've already received. And you'll see the confirmation notices to that effect. In this example, we're going to concentrate on how we can split items into different quantities if we have a quantity greater than 1, and how we can assign to groups and pallets, etc. So we'll go ahead and select a manifest, and you'll notice that I'm using an Android phone on this occasion. If you're using an iPad or other tablet, it's a good idea to do the receiving in portrait mode, because that way you'll see a lot more items on the screen at one time and you won't have to scroll quite so much. So we've got a manifest here with a variety of items and different quantities and so on. So let's go ahead and take this first one, which has a quantity of 1, and let's assign it to a group. So we'll tap on the red X to indicate we've received it. We'll tap on the pencil icon to open up the edit screen, and here we can see the top section, by the way, is all of the information about that disposal request from that particular department, and it's locked because we're not going to change that. But what we're going to do is we're going to assign this item to a group. Now, of course, we don't have a group of bulbs and so on, but the notion of a group is that it's a series of similar items that are always going to be sold at the same price. I always use computer mice as an example. We're not going to track each one individually. We're going to chuck them in a box and sell them at $1 a piece or something. So we'll go ahead and we'll select a group, and we'll put this one in the keyboard group. And of course, we're not matching things exactly here because we're just doing a demonstration to show how it works. So we'll save that, and then we can go ahead and save this, and that item has been assigned to a group. So when we receive it into inventory, it will actually get an inventory record, an inventory number, but it'll be assigned to the group, so it'll be incrementing the quantity in that group. And of course, as you sell from that group, it's going to be decrementing the quantity. So here's the next one is a CD drive. So let's go ahead and assign this to a pallet, for example. So we'll tap on the red X to show that we've received it. We'll tap on the pencil icon to open the edit screen, and once again we've got the department information at the top, and we're going to tap here on the pallet, group and pallet, and select pallet. And of course we've just got sort of junky demo pallets in here, but let's pick this one with the lots of Z's. And the idea of a pallet is that you're going to stack items on it until it's full, essentially, and then you're going to sell it as a complete lot. And people often do that with monitors and various computers and so on and so forth. So we'll go ahead and save this item, and it's been assigned to a pallet. And you won't see that in the inventory, because you'll need to go and look at it as a member of that pallet. And in your admin site, in your inventory details, you can go to the pallets and see it. It's called inventory lots in that particular case. So we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and save this one. And on this next example, let's go ahead and split it into a different quantity. So once again, we'll receive it into inventory first, and then we'll tap on the edit icon. And what we'll do here is we'll split this. So we're going to tap on the split icon, and we've got a quantity of 3, and our remaining quantity is 3, but we're going to split one off. So we're going to say we'll split that quantity of 1. You'll notice the numeric keypad comes up automatically. Maybe we have to put that in a specific location, and we can choose a location in the warehouse to assign that. And so we're not, now we can, if we want to, we can assign it to a group or pallet, but in this case we'll just split it off as a quantity, and maybe let's give it a price. So let's say it's going to be $5, for example, and we can go ahead and save that. So you'll see it shows at the bottom as a split, and we can go ahead. Now we've got 2 remaining. We could actually go and split another one off. So let's put a quantity of 1 here. We can give it a different location perhaps. Let's put it over in the new location, and maybe it's a different one, so we're going to give it a price of $10, and we can change the description, of course, and we can dictate the description using speech recognition on the phone. This is a CD duplicator. And when we do dictation, we want to close the dictation as soon as we've finished, because it'll keep dictating and put in text that we don't necessarily need. So we'll go ahead and save that. And now we've got the 2 splits down below, and the one remaining item will get its own inventory number, and these 2 items will get their inventory numbers. But of course, if they're assigned to a group or a pallet, they won't show us separate inventory numbers. So we can go ahead and close this now, and then we can save it before we close the edit screen. And we'll do another one here. So this is a group of chairs. So I'm going to take a picture of this one, and I do have a chair close by. So I'm going to select camera, and here's a chair. It's not going to be a great photograph of a chair, but that's a photograph nonetheless. And we'll check on the check mark, tap on the check mark there, and you'll see it appears in the top section of the screen. And then we can click on upload, and it'll upload it to the database and show in the bottom section of the screen. So we can upload our images, and again we can split. So one of the things we're going to do here is we're going to split this one up, and of course it's reminding me I need to make sure that I've received the quantity, and this is just acknowledging the quantities received. It's not actually in inventory yet. That happens at the end of the process. So we'll tap on the edit pencil again, and in this case we're going to assign some expenses, for example. So let's say that we've got some cleaning to do, and you can make your own list of expenses as defaults, and let's say we're just going to charge $5 for that. And so we can have as many expenses as we need, and they'll show in the bottom section of the screen with a total at the very bottom. And those expenses can be recovered by you and are calculated to be recovered by you in addition to you receiving your commission for sales prior to sending any money back to the departments. So the expenses stay with the item through its history. And again, we can do our descriptions and so on. One thing that we might do is we might split this, for example, and we've got 10 of these. So what we might do is say that we're going to split off 5 of them, for example, in this case, and we'll give them a location in the warehouse. Again, it's not necessary, but it's there if you want to track where everything is, and save that location. And we can give them a price. So let's say these ones are going to be $25, and we can also assign them directly to a group. So let's say we have $25 chairs, and we want them all to go to the same one. And of course, I don't have a chairs one here. We'll use books, for example, in this case. So you can not only can you split them, but you can also assign the split quantity to a group or a pallet. And of course, you can do your description with the speech recognition. So we can close this now, and then save the changes that we've made, and so on and so forth. So you can see there's a great deal of flexibility in what you can do with splitting and assigning to groups and pallets, etc. So we'll go ahead and just mark these other ones as received, and then we can and of course we can add an item, which is something we've done previously. And then when we're adding an item, we would choose the department for which the item is going to be added, because there may be more than one department on the disposal request. We don't necessarily need to put in the room number, but let's say that it was in room 22, and then we can just select our category. And I'm going to use the example I used before, using speech recognition. Printer. And you'll see that it finds the printer, and we can tap on it to assign that particular category. We can type in our quantity, of course, which will be required. And it's unlikely that we'll get assets during the receiving process, because assets need to be authorized by the department. So those fields are actually locked on this occasion. But we could put a price in here if we needed to as well. So we can say it's going to be $20. And then, of course, we could do a description, once again using the speech recognition. This is a printer in excellent condition. And you'll get used to using the speech recognition, speaking clearly, and also making sure you close the speech recognition as soon as you've finished. So we'll save this one. And then we'll go ahead and this is the item that we just added, and we can see that it's not yet indicated that we've received it. And you'll notice the quantity is 0, the pickup quantity is 0. We'll go ahead and tap it to say that we've got it in. Actually, we have to type in the quantity on this occasion because we've added it. But the reason the quantity is 0 there, the pickup quantity is 0, is to indicate in the audit trail that this was not actually picked up. It was brought without being assigned to the disposal request. So it's an important piece of tracking there for you. And then finally, we'll go ahead and receive them into inventory. It asks us to confirm we want to do that. And then we've received everything, and it immediately switches us over to the labels tab, where we can either select all, or we can choose different quantities of labels to print. And so it's going to have the quantity that's been received as the quantity to print. And if we look carefully, we can see where we've done the CD duplicators, where we've split those up, those 3. We can see the chairs, where we split the group of chairs into two lots of 5. And I don't think we did anything with circuit boards. Those are the other remaining items. So now we can choose to print all of the labels by clicking select all, and we can go ahead down at the bottom here and print the labels. And you can actually print from your cell phone if you have the printer drivers installed, or a little printer application installed. And we'll go ahead and print the labels, and you can see the labels, and you can go through very carefully and see that everything matches what we've received. So that's how we can do our receiving and split things and assign them to groups and pallets, etc. And it basically gives us total control over the whole process of receiving. And for those of you who are putting things up on the internet, of course, images are very important, and so this gives you the convenience of being able to take photographs of the items during the receiving process. And of course, within our application, there are many other ways you can upload images, and you can do batches of images and automatically assign them to inventory items or to auction lots. When we do print, it sets the quantities back to 0, because it may be that we wanted to print some extra ones, for example. So let's say whatever we needed, we needed 2 more of those, for example. We can select that. It gives us a little orange marker to show that it's a different quantity. But if we print labels, then it'll just print out those 2 that we need. So we can reprint whenever we need until we've clicked completed. Once we click completed, then the manifest comes away from the drop-down list at the top of the screen, so you can no longer print from here. But of course, you can print from inventory details within the main application.